What if I told you that some of the advice that you are currently following also is the thing that's really slowing your career down?
Welcome to the Climb Podcast, where we are diving into taboo topics and redefining the rules for women of color leaders. Get ready as we share the stories and amplify the voices of extraordinary women of color. From navigating workplace challenges to celebrating triumphs, on this podcast, we've got you covered. So buckle up and join us as we embark on today's empowering journey.
Welcome to the Climb Podcast, where we empower women of color in the pursuit of leadership and managerial roles. I'm your host, Felicia Smith, the founder of The Climb. And each week on this podcast, we pull back the curtains on all the workplace realities that no one is talking about, that women of color face on a day-to-day basis, and offer conversation and practical insights that really help you to navigate the broken rung and build confidence, and most importantly, keep climbing without doing it alone. And so in today's episode, we're going to cover the career advice that quietly is holding you back. Now, we are at episode 10 of season 6. We've been rocking together for 10 episodes week by week, every Wednesday. Thank you for rocking with me. Thank you for joining me on this journey. And so this episode 10, in a lot of ways, will sound familiar because a lot of the concepts we've covered across the season, but we're bringing it all together. And so I hope that you got your pen and paper out, or you cutting some clips, whatever you do to keep notes, because we're going to break down a couple of other things, right? So we've talked about oftentimes we feel like we are doing the right thing in the workplace, right? We're working hard. We're trying to be as consistent as possible. Sometimes we're keeping our head down. You're being a team player. You're saying yes to all the opportunities. And on the surface, that sounds like the perfect thing you should be doing. But what if I told you that some of the advice that you are currently following also is the thing that's really slowing your career down? So all these things that we know to be true that may have been successful on the front end of your career at this point really could be slowing your career down. And it's not because there's really a right or wrong, or this is the thing you should be doing, but because in some ways it's incomplete. Like that advice only takes you so far. And if you don't recognize that, you could spend years doing what you think is right and end up feeling stuck. What the data really shows is that high performers really aren't the ones that always get promoted. Which is a blow to the ego, because you would think, oh, if I'm performing really well, that means I'm going to get promoted. No, it doesn't. Okay. Performance is important, but in terms of advancement at a higher level, it is not the most important factor. As a matter of fact, it probably comes lower on the list, because as you go up higher in your career, it's really about, again, we talked about visibility, relationships. I'm introducing a new one, perception. And even more, many professionals really spend over 60% of the times in meetings, emails, coordination, and it leaves a very little time for them to actually do the work that moves forward, which means you have to spend more time and more space really thinking about your career and what you need to do. So if you feel like you're doing a lot, but it's not moving, okay, then this is for you. So we're going to dive right into the first segment. And in this segment, I really break down all the things that I wish I knew, or maybe you wish you knew, that somebody should have said. Somebody should have told me, would have made it easier, but they didn't. So we are where we are. Number 1, work hard. Cool. Be reliable. Say yes. All of those things are important for you to build credibility at the beginning of your career. Even maybe mid, right? It's how you become known. It's how you become a person that they feel like, hey, this person is reliable. This person is a good person. They do great work. All the things that are important. But at some point, that advice will reach its ceiling. Like, okay, yes, she's been reliable. Yes, she works hard. Yes, we know we can count on her. Good. Now what? Because now you're always the person sometimes who becomes the yes person, and they know you'll always deliver, and they know if they ask you, you'll pick up the extra work. But that is not what often is seen as leadership. You're just seen as being dependable. And being seen as a leader and being seen as dependable are not the same thing. And it sounds a little counterintuitive. If you're being seen as a leader, you're also being seen as dependable. And there is an assumption that a leader would be dependable, but the two aren't intertwined. So dependability doesn't equate to leadership. So you can be seen as dependable and never be thought of as the next leader. Because career advancement in itself isn't built upon just dependability. Ooh, that's kind of one of those things. Dependability is a cornerstone and block for how you move forward, but it isn't the end all be all. And it isn't the secret sauce that gets you to the next level. I hope that makes sense. I hope I didn't confuse you a little bit. So let's just go into the next segment, which is truth is. A lot of career advice that we were given was just designed for us to get access and to get our feet in the door. So being dependable, working hard, being the person they can rely on, that type of advice is really about access. I get the job, I do the job, they know that I'm here, they know that I'm going to do it. In the words of Cat Williams, they know I'm going to be there. I know I'm going to be here. I'm going to do the best possible job. Yeah, that quote takes me out every time. But anyways, that is just designed for access, but it's not designed for advancement, and particularly for women of color who are advancing, because many of us, again, were taught, don't rock the boat, be grateful for the opportunity, which I don't understand. Prove yourself first, and then do it again, and then do it again, and then do it again. And that those are the things that get you in the room. But the truth of the matter is, I don't necessarily agree with that. In the end, the rules shift, right? Like, again, that dependability and all those things get you access, but you can't keep playing that game when you're on a different level, right? Work hard and be recognized. Okay, hard work matters. Hard work always matters. But recognition doesn't come from just effort alone. It comes from visibility, it comes from positioning, keeping your head down, maybe, but later it can make you invisible, right? Saying yes to everything, okay, that creates opportunities earlier, but later it can absolutely create overload without advancement and additional pay. You just doing extra work. And this is where a lot of women get stuck because you're thinking, I've done everything I was supposed to do. And you've probably done that and some additional. But there's another set of rules. The things that got you in the space aren't the things that are keep you. And I know that's controversial, but it is true when you're moving from level to level. What made you a team lead or what made you an amazing individual contributor is not going to make you an amazing senior leader, because the skill and the art of it's a little bit different. And you have to flex a different type of muscle. So that's the truth. We don't like to talk about it. It's ugly, but it's the truth. So I want you to begin to think right now about where you are in your career and what that really means for you personally. Where do you feel like, man, I'm doing a whole bunch and I'm not seeing a lot of returns? And ask yourself, am I doing these things? Am I overworking? Am I still so focused on being dependable that I am not looking at visibility and positioning, and I'm not beginning to figure out how I move forward? So I'm going to give you, of course, y'all know it. This season is all about my threes. I'm going to give you the 3 shifts that actually move you forward. All right. So shift 1, you have to move from effort to visibility. So effort is I'm dependable. I do all the work. I'm working. My head's down. I'm known as the expert. They know when they send me an email and ask me for something, I'm going to respond and give it to them. Boom. Here's the truth. Work doesn't speak. People do. So if you are just working and you are not speaking, then no one's hearing you. If people don't understand what you're doing, the impact you're creating, the problems you're solving, then your effort really stays invisible. And this is especially important for women of color because research really shows that we often think of the prove it again bias, where our work is not always recognized or remembered the same way. So instead of just like doing the work, we have to communicate. Here's what I've accomplished, or here's what we've accomplished. Here's the impact. That's how you move from doing the work and to be seen as someone who is driving outcomes. You have to drive outcomes. You can't just do the work. Your work by itself is not its own soundtrack. You have to voice track your work and show its meaning. Okay. Number 2, welcome to The Climb, a space designed just for women of color who desire managerial, leadership, and even C-suite positions. To achieve this level of success in your career, you need a trusted community that will embrace you while helping you to navigate to your highest career goals. Join The Climb for free. We offer the following resources: The Climb Podcast, Standing on Her Shoulders Leadership Development Program, Women of Color Coaching Network, the Boardroom Training Program, and the Climb newsletter. Go to www.the-climb.org and click the button Become a Member, and we will keep you updated with our simple and fun newsletter and events that we have coming up soon. You don't want to miss it. Go to www.the-climb.org. See you soon. The shift from yes to intentional yes. So again, access, getting into the door. You probably said yes to a lot of things. I know I did. When I first got in to my job, I was like, yes to it all. Partly because I just really wanted to learn. Because for me, the more I did extra projects, the more I learned about the organization, the more I learned about the work. And so I said yes to a lot of things. And then later, often we continue to say yes to everything. And I've done the same thing. But can you slow down? Because not all work is equal. So every project that you take is not a stepping stone to the next thing. Some projects are just work. And the reality is that, again, studies show that women are more likely to take on non-promotable work, you know, the extra tasks, the team support, the admin work, doing the parties for the office, which are necessarily things that are important, but they're not always rewarded, and they're definitely not rewarded at the same level. And so if you're always saying yes, you may be building a reputation for just being helpful, not strategic, just being always a person I can go to help. So the practical shift is, before you say yes, ask the question, does this move me forward, or does this just keep me busy? Is it aligned to where I'm going? Because every yes is no to something else. If you're saying yes over here to something, you're saying no to something else. And if your plate is full of yeses to these small tasks that are nice to have, but is not moving you forward strategically, then your plate is filled with the wrong things. And we don't want that. So shift 3 is from execution to positioning. So execution gets you recognized, of course, but positioning is really what gets you promoted, because leadership is not, just about doing the work. As a matter of fact, it's so much more. It's about how you're perceived. And we're going to talk about perception in season 7. It's about where you show up, where the decisions are influenced. Many high performers stay in execution mode too long. And we end up focusing on doing more, fixing more, delivering more. But those things don't shift you into shaping direction, influencing decisions, which are the things you want to be doing, and being in the conversation before the work begins. So you have to ask yourself, am I in the decision-making rooms? Am I known for how I think or just what I produce? Who understands my perspective, right? Like not just my output, but who understands my perspective? Because positioning is not just about doing the work. It's about being seen differently. And the workplace has changed. It's changed a lot over the years. The volume of work has increased. The expectations have increased. But clarity on how you actually advance has not. It becomes more murky. So a lot of women really do feel stuck despite doing all the things that they've done in more than before. And so I'll leave you with this. What you are doing isn't inherently bad or wrong. The advice that you followed, it worked the way it was supposed to, for the season it was supposed to, for the place it was supposed to. It got you where you are. But getting here and then moving forward, different strategy. So the questions you should be asking yourself isn't, are you working hard enough? The question is, am I working in a way that actually moves me forward? Because some advice will get you in the door, but different thinking, that is how you really move forward. That's the pod, guys. And this is another episode. And not just another episode, guys. We have closed out season 6. I'm super excited. I want you to share this episode with a woman that you know who is really trying to figure out how to move forward. And maybe she is working hard and doing all the things, but not seeing the result or reaping the benefits. Share this episode with her. Please remember to follow us on all the social media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts. Remember, we are not just climbing careers, we are building ladders. Until next time.
Thanks for tuning into the Climb Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us on wherever you listen to podcasts. For updates and behind-the-scenes content, make sure you're following us on Instagram and LinkedIn at Join the Climb. Until next time, keep climbing and keep thriving, sis. See you next episode.